High performers. Hey, yes, that's you. You know my corporate sis who's 45 and up. Yeah, maybe about 45 and up. And someone asks to say, "Hey, are you doing good?" "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine." But really, you're not. Are you a high performer or are you dealing with high cortisol? There's a difference. I need you to lean into this video because we're on the second week of what I call my leadership biological audit, getting into what I call leadership biological intelligence. It's time you lean in. If you are that woman who's about 45 and up and you are that high performer, executive women, mm, there's some things we need to check. Lean into the video. We need to talk. Here's the thing. In our 30s and 40s, we had this thing called estrogen that helped us regulate our stress and progesterone, right? This is the reason why right out of the gate, if this is not you, you can just go to the next video because we're talking to my perimenopause and menopause and postmenopausal women who are in these executive level positions, and you're the high performer and you just feel like y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here. You know who I'm talking, I'm talking to you, right? Because here's the thing, we can really do a lot, but once you start getting to this level, there are some things that I need you to recognize. I need you to work smarter. And that's the reason why I've designed this leadership biological audit. You see, because a lot of us are dealing with what we know is high cortisol. And when you have high degree of cortisol, what's typically happening is your insulin is raised, your glucose is raised, you're not really getting sleep, got a little bit of the brain fog going on, and you're just feeling out of sorts. You feel like you're about to lose your mind, but you're not. Your mind is simply trying to regulate without having these abundant hormones called estrogen and progesterone. And I just want to tell you right now, my sister, I see you, my sis. When we was in our 20s and 30s, we were just rocking and rolling and it just going. And it really didn't impact us. So I just want to let you know you are in a safe space. This is where you need to be right now, because what we need to do right now in our audit is talk about our nervous system. If you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's video, we were talking about auditing our sleep, auditing our insulin and glucose, and our thyroid. Those are three key areas that are really critical in this leadership biological intelligence. Why? Because when we're at this stage, we're dysregulated. And typically what happens, and I'm going to read to you from our Rise 53 Inner Circle newsletter that we publish every single week. And those of you coming into this, you're likely watching us on YouTube or you came from LinkedIn. Welcome, welcome. I'm Diana Patton, your authentic power strategist. And I want to read to you what typically happens to women who have a dysregulated nervous system. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I'm gonna put on my handy dandy glasses here so I can see better. So there's typically what we call a cortisol belly. This is abdominal weight gain, right? And I'm actually pointing here to my abs, and I'm gonna show you like right in here. You see? That's an abdominal weight gain. That's what sometimes we call cortisol belly. Lean in, my sister. We have insomnia, or we wake up at 3 a.m. and we can't go back to sleep. Or sometimes we just can't even get to sleep. Holla if you hear me. Say in the comments, that's me. We have anxiety that feels new and unfamiliar, right? We have fatigue, afternoon crashes that were before we could deal with these afternoon crashes, irritability, heightened emotional reactivity, right? And here's the dangerous part. Many of us are operating like this and calling it high performance or high, drive on. I got this drive. But we say We say this, and we people who are dealing with what we call high performance, but really high cortisol, we say, I only need 6 hours of sleep. I'm good with 6 hours of sleep, or I can handle it. I'm good. Or I thrive under pressure, right? It's all good. And the last one, oh, I'm so busy, but I can slow down. I can't slow down because fill in the blank. You see, all of these are indications that, yes, you likely are a person who can put a lot of output. But if you're feeling and any of those symptoms that I said before, abdominal weight gain, lack of sleep, then it's likely that you're dealing with high cortisol. And so, why do you care about that? Because you don't want to walk through life feeling out of sorts. You don't want to feel like you can't get your mind back to center. And you want to understand how you can consistently put out work that's reflective of not only your intellect, but your ease. And that's what we're talking about. We want to feel a sense of ease and you want to feel a sense of peace in your work. That's why we're doing the Leadership Biological Audit. Now, in last week's video, where we were talking about, auditing our cortisol, our insulin, and our sleep and our thyroid. The reason we brought this up was because McKinsey, thank you so much, McKinsey, for doing an audit on women in December of 2025 report. It was saying that women have less ambition than men. And I called, foul. No, actually, there are factors that McKinsey rightfully said that women tend to endure, right? We tend to take on more duties in home. We tend to have more caregiving responsibilities, and we are burning out at faster rates. But there are two critical things that we aren't considering, right? Hormone fluctuation, menopause, and everything that goes along with our nervous system being dysregulated. All of that comes into play, which can impact our ability to go after things. And so that's why this information is so relevant. And we have to lean into it. And we have to be able to say it's okay to talk about it in our corporate spaces. So many people wrap shame around this. Like, oh gosh, I forgot what my train of thought. And then all of a sudden, oh, we're just such horrible people. We're not be able to do our job. No, we just need to understand what we need to do to regulate that. And that's the reason why this week we're going into the nervous system audit. So there are three things that we're going to be paying attention to this week in our Rise 53 Inner Circle. And it's because I'm a high performer. I am very competitive and I like to do really hard work. But I also understood personally my own personal story that I had to get some things under control. These are the three things that we're going to be looking at: our triggers, what triggers us, right? Our recovery time from a trigger, something that just takes us off center. And thirdly, our cortisol rhythm, right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on this week. And I want to dive into those three areas. But before I do, I want to share a personal story with you. You see, I consider myself, as I've said so many times in these videos, a pretty disciplined person. I am pretty disciplined in my food choices. I'm disciplined in my activity. I'm disciplined in my meditation. But what I also recognize, the load of trauma that I've had to endure in my life is higher than probably most. Therefore, there are practices that I put in place are necessary for me to operate in high performing environments. And what I've come to realize is the clients that we serve within the Rise with Diana community and the Rise Advocates movement, they have very similar qualities. So these three critical factors that I'm about to share with you are so fundamental and necessary for us to be able to operate. So, one indication that my nervous system was dysregulated this past 2025 year was I came down with shingles. Yes, that's right, shingles. The person who's eating well, drinking protein shakes, sleeping, trying to get greens in, spinach, broccoli, all the things. taking supplements like fish oil and all the things. How did I get shingles? Mm, yeah. So we can't just overlook that, right? We can't overlook it. Now, what is at the foundation of that? Well, there are a few things at play. I want to break down shingles for you quickly, and then I'm going to go into those three areas. First, shingles pops up when you have a virus coming from the chickenpox virus, which is something that lays dormant. If you had chickenpox, you likely are of a certain age, and I would say this impacts people who are a little bit older. I am 57, and the virus lives in your nervous system, in the areas of your spine. So it's in your fluid, your spinal fluid. And over a period of time, if your immune system is dysregulated or your nervous system, usually this comes on with severe stress, then what happens is that virus, your immune system actually keeps it at bay. And usually, if it's triggered due to high amounts of repeated stress, then it can make its way to your bloodstream, to your skin. What does it do? It actually literally burns your skin and creates these nerve kind of pain in the area. So not only are you dealing with the blisters and pain from that skin virus coming out, but it also creates your nerves. Your nerves can be impacted. All of those things happen to me. And so what I realized was, what is at the base of that stress, Diana? And what I know for sure was 2025 was a really, really hard year for me. It was me dealing with this behind the scenes mindset of I am not getting any consulting agreements. I feel like I redid my entire academy and nobody was signing up for the academy. I had two people who did sign up for the academy. One person just like walked away, and then another person really didn't, it just didn't fit. And I just thought, what's going on? And this is going on in the back of my mind while I'm trying to push out those negative beliefs, thoughts. I'm trying to bring in this, you're good, you're fine, everything's great mentality. But obviously, I was triggered. And there came shingles. It just added another layer of understanding of why nervous system regulation and being in control of your biological audit is so important. So, I want to share that with you because I need you to understand I'm a real person who's dealing with real things, trying to do real work in this world in a body that's going to function for me and realize that everything is for me. So, what I want to do is, and I don't know if any of you, if anybody can relate, have you ever felt like you're just doing everything right, but then deep down inside, you realize there's another layer of learning that you have to appreciate, dive into, and understand. And so this then brought on, oh gosh, as a leader, I need to know that these things are happening behind the scenes. So it's time to go deeper. So I want to share some thoughts with you about what I want to get into. And so the first thing I want to share with you is in this nervous system coaching corner is I want you to document a few things. First, what triggers you, right? What tends to get on your nerves? What situations trigger you? And what themes seem to be repeating when you are being triggered? Who are the people? What is the circumstance? Where do you find yourself? What time of day is it? Is it a certain type of person? Is it a boss? Is it a partner? Is it a child? What's going on in your world that is telling you these are triggers? Is it social media? Is it watching the news? You really need to get very deep with this audit so that you can actually see what is being triggered. As we say in corporate, right? You cannot contain, you cannot know how to deal with something if you're not willing to measure it. So this is a time we need to analyze ourselves. And as I always say, I always tell people, one, raise your right hand and say, I am not a robot. And the second thing that I always tell people is that you are your full-time job. So the first step in understanding your nervous system audit, this leadership biological intelligence, is to understand what triggers you, right? So, you can also know, and I want to add to this, is you can see how this triggering happens in your body. For example, do you get sweaty hands? Do you get a dry mouth? Do you get a racing heart? Do you get a tight chest? Right? And heat in your face. I really want you to get specific with this. Okay. Then I want you to ask yourself, how long does it last? It's really important to know this. Because when you understand your triggers and you see how long it lasts, because some people stay in that heightened vigilant state for a long period of time, and that is not healthy for you, right? So you need to know, you feel that happening for 10 minutes, right? And you feel that happening and you feel stressed. Is it 10 minutes? Is it an hour? Do you go to sleep with this? How long is this actually happening? So, is it a continuous loop? Some people they could be working and then all of a sudden it loops in their mind and they just can't stop thinking about it. It just consistently is on loop. And I'm telling you, my friends, that is not freedom. That is not causing you to be at your best. This is why we need to understand ourselves at the core. Um, and then I want you to understand what is your recovery time and um, how is this moving through your body. The last thing that I want you to do is consider doing this. Get your cortisol tested. You can actually get your cortisol tested. The best way to do it is blood work. The next best way to do it is saliva. And the next way to do that is do some sort of functioning panel review with a doctor to actually get your cortisol checked. Some of you really need to take time to do that. And you might have to go to your primary care physician or your gynecologist to be able to work up some sort of order that you can take to a lab, or if you can go to a naturopath or a nurse of a certain caliber where they could order that for you, I highly suggest it. So I want you to know that it's something that I want to read this to you because low estrogen plus low progesterone equals harder cortisol regulation. That's the reason why I'm speaking to my 45 plus women, right? Because we have that. It's likely that you are in that zone. Now, the last thing I want you to audit. What does your abdominal weight tell you? And I want you to look at this because cortisol driven weight gain is not a discipline issue. It's a stress signal. Let me repeat, please, for the people in the back. Your cortisol weight is not a discipline issue often. It is a stress signal. And it reflects back on the items that we were talking about last week. How well are you sleeping? How much are you waking up? And how rested do you feel in a day? Sleep is nervous system data. And everything we're talking about right now is getting you into regulation. Now, I want you to just spend time, sharing this. If you are starting to dive into this audit, then I'd love to hear from you. I would love to know what's going on with you. Maybe perhaps we could set up. I am not a medical doctor. I am not a naturopath. I am a health coach. I've actually spent quite a bit of time in my work as a health coach. I'm a former attorney. So for me, audit, data, information, evidence, discovery, all of that is everything that we do within the Rise Advocates Academy. We are all about helping women be their best through their authentic voice, having a clear body, mind, and spirit so they can speak up and advocate for themselves. And so I want you to understand this. I want you to know this. This is going to help you feel better about yourself. Are you with me? Say, I'm with you in the comments because I want to hear from you. Some of you might be thinking, this is way too much information, Diana. I can't do this. No, you can. There's no one coming to save you. It's time that you save yourself. You have agency. You have choice. And this is a beautiful stage of life for us to live in our 50s, our 40s, our 60s. The data is clear that we can take control of this time of our lives. I want you to continue to be a high performer without high cortisol. And this was your nervous system regulation audit. Let me know what you think about this. I would love to hear from you. If you are interested in being a part of our community, our ecosystem, please register, subscribe for our authentic power strategies. If you're coming through LinkedIn, click subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe so that you can be notified. Hit that bell so that you can be notified of new videos that are going to be coming out. Let us know what else you might be interested in. And if you're journeying along on this leadership biological audit, I would love to hear from you. So sign up, join our newsletter list. I'll put the link there. And get on our wait list for the Rise Advocates Academy and even our Rise 53 inner circle. Love to be with you. Thank you for journeying along with us. There's work for us to do, and I'm so glad that we're doing this together in our Rise Advocates movement. All right, we'll see you in the next video.